And we are live. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. If this is your first time joining, I am Jennifer with Moms Who Resell, and I have a very special guest today. Angie resells. I think it's,
Other way.
I don't know
Yeah.
who hears
Oh,
it.
I did the
So,
wrong way too.
okay,
Yeah.
whichever side she's on. Angie, I am so excited to have you on tonight. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I wanted to just get to know you. I see your podcast. I see that you are going to be a special guest at the Boss Reseller Remix. So I want to hear
Yep.
about that and just about your history with reselling. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time.
I've been doing
You
it a
want to tell everybody
long
how long you've been
time.
doing it for?
Yeah, I have been. Coco's here. Hey, Coco. I have been a reseller now for 25 years. I started back on eBay in 1998. Yeah. And I actually lived in Hawaii, and my daughter had lots of cute clothes, and I was a Gymboree addict. And my neighbor said, "Hey, there's this cool place that you can sell stuff online." And I'm like, "What? No, you can't." And I decided to do it. And back then, you did auctioning of everything. We started them at 99 cents because it costs more to start them at $1. And yeah, I've been doing it ever since. So it's pretty exciting. I love
Wow.
reselling. It's a part of my heart. I tell you.
That is so crazy. I never I'm so new to this bubble. It's been like 4 years, and before that, I was oblivious to reselling. I knew people would
Right?
buy it like flea markets or I don't know how they did it, Craigslist, but to have an entire business behind it just blows me away. I just never thought that was possible. And then
Yeah.
here we are. So, welcome, Coco. Yay. Excited to have you. Christopher, excited
Hey,
to have
Christopher.
you. And why don't you tell us, as I already said in the intro, that you are going to be a guest on Boss Reseller Remix. Tell us how you got invited and how that all started.
Yeah, Kristen and I are very excited. We are speaking together because she is my partner in crime. I think we have both been resellers for over 25 years. And while we are YouTube voices and we share our reselling story, I think they were looking for not just like YouTube personalities. Of course, they have some big ones, but
Mhm.
they were looking for something, someone who has lots of experience in selling, and as things change over the years, kind of how we've adjusted to it and things. And
Mm.
on the Let's Do Lunch podcast, we spent a lot of time talking about what you have to do to keep your business going. So whether that is cross listing or trying new things, Kristen does this pop-up sale. It's called junk stock. No matter what it is, you just have to kind of go with the flow to keep your business going in this day and age.
I love
So
that.
we talked to Katie and Vicky, and they invited us. We were super excited because we're going to be right up there with like Kevin, Commonwealth Picker. So that's pretty exciting.
Oh,
And
goodness.
yeah, so if you haven't thought about going to a conference, I highly, highly recommend it. I know that there's FlipCon, there's the Reseller Rally, and then even if you get a chance to do small groups, like if they're doing meetups or whatever, you get so much from those meetups. It literally
Um,
just engages you again, and it gives you so many ideas and so much motivation to keep going. So I highly recommend, if you can be a part of any of those and go in person, do it.
that is my goal. So the Vegas, being that I'm in Tucson, Vegas is only 7 hours away.
Nice.
So I have been trying to align things to make it possible to get out there because as far as the drive, I'm not worried about doing that, but
Yeah.
I've got young kids, my husband works full time, it's school's back in session, so I'm hoping. And if worst case scenario, I'll do the virtual and I'll at least
Yeah.
commit my time to sit there and learn from all of you. I know a big chunk is in person and networking and shaking hands and just being around people. And that's the part that I would look the most forward to. So you said some big names are going to be there. Who are you most excited for?
Gosh, there's so many. I mean, honestly, it's not so much. I love the speakers. I do love that.
Mhm.
But it's all the people that I talk to every day that is just, to be able to meet those people in person. Yeah, it's
Yep.
great. Like, we are gonna zip line with Kevin's wife Heather. So
Wow.
we have that planned, and we're trying to get Dawn, who is Mrs. Arbitrage, to do it with us and stuff. But really, it's just me. I want to see Mikey Bags of Money and Sunny Las Vegas and everyone just in
Right.
person to get that. I know that I would have loved to have gone to FlipCon again this year because Coco's going to be there, and Christy and Chrissy, who is Collins on the Move, and just
Yeah.
so many great people. Mrs. Frugal
And
Trash
you're
to Cash.
closer for that one, being that one's on the East Coast.
Yeah, it's just for me, I have to take off a big chunk of time, and reselling
Mhm.
is my full-time job. I support my family 100% on reselling. So for
That's
me to take
amazing.
off 2 whole weeks essentially to do back-to-back ones, it's just too much for me to take off. So because we're
Right.
speaking at Boss, I had to stick with
Kind of
Boss this
one.
year.
Yeah, I think Joe and Nicole, they're also speaking, right? Or are they doing their
They're
game
not
show or
speaking, they're gonna do their game
their
show,
game
and
show? How
I know a
fun.
secret. I know who's gonna be the contestants, but I'm not allowed to say.
Okay, there's only 8 people on here, so everybody has to
Oh,
promise not
I
to
can't.
say.
Texas lady, hi.
Oh, that's so awesome. How fun. And then to do it, I'm sure they're thrilled to do it in person,
Oh,
so
how
it's not
exciting for
doing
them.
the delay. That's gonna be great. Texas lady, welcome. Excited to have you. So let's dig in. You mentioned you've been doing this for over 25 years. How did you get started? What was your bug that told you about it?
Well, back then, now people are like, "Oh, everyone knows someone on eBay." Back then, no one heard of eBay. We still did dial-up, if you can believe that. I loved yard
I can hear the
sales.
sound when you just say
Yeah.
dial up. You can hear the
Or
beep.
if somebody would call you, knock you off the internet, stuff like that.
Yep.
So, but when my neighbor told me about eBay, I was like, well, I'll give it a chance. But back then, you had to take pictures with a camera, take them to
Hmm.
Walmart, wait for them to get developed, bring them home. Hopefully, a picture came out. You could only do one picture because all the extra ones cost an extra quarter. You had to scan them on a flatbed scanner, wait for the dial up to put them on the thing. And back then, you didn't have to have a picture to sell stuff. You could just
Oh
say,
wow.
pretty red shirt, you'll love it. And people would sell it just like that.
I hope so.
Um, but I was hooked, and everything sold. Everything under the sun sold. And it just, I can remember when I finally got my first camera, and it wasn't a digital camera, it was a floppy disk camera. The old floppy disk
Wow.
that like
Yep.
changed my life when I didn't have to go and get pictures developed anymore. I could just take my floppy disk out and put it in my computer. It was like literally life-changing. I paid $2,000 for that camera, by the way.
Oh my
And,
goodness.
I think you can get one now for 20 bucks. They're like
Right.
nostalgia.
You
Um,
almost need one on your display behind you
I know,
just to
right? I
show
need to
it.
buy one. Just hopefully one day I'll come across one at the bins or something.
Right.
But um, really, I've always been a reseller at heart. So it just was a natural thing for me. And back then, shipping was dirt cheap. I lived in Hawaii, and it was $3.20 to ship a 2-pound package anywhere in the country. Anywhere in the country.
Wow.
So nowadays, I could never live in Hawaii and start an eBay business. Like, it would
Right.
be really
The
difficult.
shipping
But
would
back
kill you.
then, it was so dirt, and you actually had to handwrite all your labels and take them to the post office. A different world back then.
Aren't
So
you glad that things have evolved?
yeah, for sure. But,
Wow.
but back then it was the money was incredible. People were like, how in the world are you? It just, and money would come like in envelopes, and they would tape change down and stuff. It was awesome back then. We were like the wild west of reselling in those
That
days.
is
But
hilarious. And then
yeah,
you'd have to wait till you got the money in the mail.
Yeah, you had
before
to
you
wait,
would
and if
mail
you
them
got
their
a
item.
check, people knew they had to wait for their check to clear, so they'd wait 10 more days, but no one scammed you ever. You never had a scam. No one didn't pay, no one
They didn't know
canceled, and
how
no
to
one
scam,
returned.
Angie. Like, that's like, no one knew how to then, not
Yeah,
in
I mean, it was
reselling
like
world.
people just took you at your word. If there was a problem, they'd be like, "Oh, that sucks," and, that's just how it was. It was
Right.
so
They
awesome, and
already waited 14 days for this package, so like it or not, here it is.
and so,
Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
we just, yeah, went for it, and so, and I've been doing it ever since. I love it.
That is hilarious. Texas lady, I remember waiting on money orders and checks in the mail. Started a long time ago and stopped and now restarted.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
I must have been living under a rock because I didn't know eBay existed that far back.
I would have never
That's
known if a
crazy.
neighbor hadn't came over and told me.
That's
So,
great.
good thing I had that neighbor.
Yes, thank that neighbor, never ending. So you have two kiddos, well, not kids
Yes.
anymore, two adults. How are they or were they involved in the business over the last 20 years of their lives?
Well, my oldest is 25, and I started selling on eBay when she was 5 months old. So, it has been a part of their life their entire life.
Yeah.
But neither one of them want to be resellers. They want no part of it
Oh,
because
funny.
it's just been it's what mom does and what I've done
Hmm.
forever, and it's a lot of work and they see it. Have
Yeah.
they done things in the past? Yeah, of course they, when they wanted to make money or whatever. And my oldest, sometimes she'll like find some things and she'll put, a couple things on eBay. Of course, they always end up over here when she sells them. Here, mom, ship this for me. But my youngest, I couldn't get her to look at eBay if I paid her like $500 an hour. She is like, I want no part of it. So that's
How
all right.
funny. My daughter has also been, I mean, so I've been doing it for close to 5 years now, and she's 8. So yeah,
Oh,
probably her
yeah,
earliest memories go back to me doing this, and she
exactly.
loves it. She always like career day at school. What do you want to be? I want to be a teacher and a reseller. Like that's what she wants
Aw,
to
how
be.
cute is
So I
that?
and even my son, he'll go over when I'm doing pictures and put his little Hot Wheels and line them up for pictures. And I think they're gonna have the bug. She likes to help, and he just likes to be with me. So just do whatever he can do to be with
Love it.
me. All right. So what is your favorite niche and one you wish you knew more about? I mean, 25 years, you probably have to know all of them by now.
Y
What's your favorite?
No, that's the crazy thing about reselling is you could never know it all because what sells today may not
Mm-hmm.
sell at all tomorrow. I mean, it
So true.
just is ever changing. My
Yeah.
favorite niche, I've always been a picker at heart, so I love the special finds that just is the oddball thing. Like one time I found giant swatch watches that hung on your walls. They were like store displays. Just when you find that really, really odd thing and you're just like, yes, I know in my gut this is a great treasure. I
Yeah.
sell clothes and I sell plush and I sell electronics, but it's that one-off, really, interesting find that I always love to go for. One thing I
Yeah.
don't here, two things I don't know anything about are jewelry and glassware. I've never had
So
interest
true.
in either one of those.
I'm trying the jewelry. I am trying the
Yeah.
jewelry and I'm failing tremendously and now I'm becoming a jewelry hoarder, but I'm hoping some of this knowledge is being retained
Yeah.
because I'd love to get to the point that like these jewelry pros, they'll show up at an estate table and they know exactly what to
They
pick.
got their loops ready to go.
Yes. So I want to learn jewelry. That is my current bucket list is to get
Yeah.
to know jewelry. Glass, I feel like that same thing. It's just such a big world of glass that like I know a couple brands, but if
See,
it's not obvious, I'm not even gonna touch it.
my problem is I'd go to an estate sale and somebody would say, "I'll give you $10,000 to find this piece," and I would lose because I know nothing. It's just never been
Yep.
something that I've really had a big interest in, and now I feel
Yeah.
like I'm too far behind the 8 ball to, like, even try to learn it at this point, so,
Yeah.
I probably leave good money behind for all those people who do glassware.
Yep. That's what I hate when I'm filming for YouTube and I'll show the table of what I'm looking at and like, okay, I'm gonna pick this piece and all the pros will be watching, not all, but whatever
Yeah.
pros will be watching and be like, oh my gosh, you left
Nah,
fifty
wrong
dollars there,
piece.
$100 there, that's a $10,000 something.
Oh
And
my gosh.
ugh, don't tell me. Just don't tell me. I don't even want to know. It's almost worse knowing that you
I
missed
know,
something
right? Like, "You
than
walked away from $1,000 item. Ugh, thanks for letting me know."
right. Let me go see if I can find that person again. What's the chance of that? All right. What is your favorite way to source? Bins, garage sales, states?
Oh, I've done it all, liquidation, pallets, everything, but now I would say I love to go to the bins, even though I have the tiniest bins store in the country, Goodwill Bins. You still find great treasures there. My
Nice.
second favorite would be church yard sales because
Hmm.
you find the best stuff, and they are not emotionally attached to that stuff typically at all. So you can find
Yep.
some really great things. And then I would say garage sales would be next for me. My worst is estate sales. Our estate sales
Really?
here in this area are so expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody buys anything. Even when they have it 50% off day, it's so overpriced. I'm just
Right.
like, it's just my area, I guess. And I think what they do
Yeah.
is they take a lot of the stuff after the sale. If it doesn't sell, then they get it at next to nothing and then they resell it. That's why they mark up the anything worth of
Yep.
value so high. And it's just, unfortunately it's a bad one in my area. But the other thing I do like is we have an Amazon return store, which can
Ooh,
be
I'm jealous of that.
a lot of fun going to those.
Are those the ones that have like the $5 day, the $6
Right.
day,
Ours
holiday,
here
whatever?
starts at $14,
Ooh,
which
okay.
is
But that's the
really
good stuff.
high, really high. And there's a lot of junk, but you can find some good stuff. When they first opened, it was like, wow. But as time goes on, their trucks get less good, so it's harder to find items, but you can still find them.
Mhm.
I think my favorite day is dollar day because you could still find some good stuff. Quarter day, there's not nothing left. But on dollar day, there's still some hidden treasures in there. So I love to go on
How
dollar day.
fun. I want to know what they do with all the boxes. So you go to the UPS store and you do your Amazon return, and they're just throwing all this stuff in these giant boxes. Where do those go? Like, I know Amazon's not always getting it back because they're just issuing a refund the minute you scan it. So you could have
Yeah,
delivered a
no,
box
they
of rocks.
actually
You don't even know.
Amazon will just send that to liquidation,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But what people don't realize, sadly, with Amazon is it's not, they're like, well, Amazon does free returns and Amazon doesn't care what happens to the item. And that's true because it's not Amazon's item. It's people like me and you who are reselling on Amazon that now just lost their item that somebody returned because they, you know, found
Didn't like
a
the
different
smell.
one or for whatever reason.
Right.
We I That's one of the things that scares me about selling on Amazon is because there are some issues like that.
Yeah, for sure. I want to get my hands on those pallets when they're getting sent back to Amazon, whoever, because there's some good stuff. Like
Oh
today, I
yeah.
returned something that we bought for Prime Day, brand new sealed, and they just put it in a box. I'm
Yep.
like, all right, I want to track that box because I know what I just gave you back, and now I want everything else in there.
Right?
So I guess big cities. I'm sure if I look up in Phoenix, they'll have bigger stuff.
Oh, for sure.
But little Tucson doesn't have much. Texas lady, I'm now 60 years old, and this is great for me.
I
That's
love that.
awesome. I see so many seniors. So I live just south of Tucson. So we are a huge retirement community, and the amount of senior resellers is crazy. Like they're paying for their retirement, and like it just blows me away. Like there was this older couple. Sadly, it's been probably a year since I've seen them, so I'm hoping
Right.
it's not. Maybe they moved. I'm hoping they moved. So, but they were older. They were probably late 80s and they were shuffling doing their like they were resellers, they had to be, and they would split up, they'd tag team it, and wife would go one way, husband would go another
I
way,
love
and
that.
it's just, yeah, there's no age limit to this. Like, it's
No, and you know what? My
amazing.
mom will be 70 this year, and she literally is my eBay partner. Mom lives with me, and she does all of my Vendu cross listing. She does the drafts. I mean, she takes most of the pictures. She is like eBay queen now. And she said it like is so fulfilling. She wakes up and has purpose every single day. The
That's
idea of
amazing.
retiring nowadays, what do you
Boring.
know, you got to have things to do. And so I love the idea of reselling for people who are retired. Number one, you have stuff you can get rid of. Your kids don't want that stuff. So you can get rid
Hmm.
of stuff, make some extra money, travel, do the things you want, and get rid of the junk
Yeah,
you no longer want in your life. Joe, hi,
exactly. And it
Joe.
gets you out and about too, like going to thrift
Right.
stores and, pardon me, and just being around people rather than just hiding in your house.
Right.
That doesn't
Exactly.
sound very fun. And in 90s, I saw eBay on my mother's computer when I was in high school. Never knew people could sell on
Right,
there.
Christopher?
Used to go to the post office and they'd call me the eBay lady. That started again a few months ago. Things have
Oh,
changed a lot.
yes.
They do.
So much.
Uh, Doorbell. That's random. All right. I'd like to know what kind of label printer I should purchase. I'm using a regular one now, cutting and taping. So I switched to the Jaden printer because I had a Rollo forever. It was the wired Rollo printer. And I got a new computer, and for some reason, the software didn't like that printer. So then I'm like, all right, forget Rollo. I'm going a different route. And I went with Bluetooth wireless Jaden printer, and I have loved it. And it's budget friendly. It's less than $100. And yeah, I just love it. So, which one do you use?
I have a Rolo,
No.
but I second that with the Jadens. We have Jadens is they have a wired, well, they have a wireless one. They have one in pink, which is so adorable, by the way.
Yes.
But it can be wired or wireless, so it's great if you need to print from your phone and things. I actually have Texas Lady. If you go to my site, I have a 20% off coupon, so you get the wireless printer is well under $200 and you get 20% off your whole purchase. So it's a
Oh,
really,
wow.
really great printer. I highly recommend it. The other one that I would recommend is it's called an IDPRT. It's on Amazon that you can go and pick up. It is wired though, but it is a thermal printer. People are like, I don't know if I want to invest that much, but if you are paying for ink now, a thermal printer will pay for itself the very first year that you have it, 100%, because you'll
100%.
never
That
have
was
to
the
buy ink again.
first big investment. I told myself if I'm printing more than like 5 a week or something, I had some
Yeah.
calculation in my head where it's like 5 or more in a week. Once my business got to that, I'm like, I need to invest because I had, so I was just cutting and taping, and then I started getting the self stick 2 to 1 page paper. So I just a
Yep.
laser printer, and you can print it on these basically stickers. And so I was doing that, but yeah, ink is like $40 for a laser ink cartridge.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
and that would probably maybe a year. So if you're spending $100 on a Rollo printer, and I obviously sell more than 5 items in a week, so yeah, it
It's
pays for
worth it.
itself in no time.
But Texas Lady, it's all caps Angie resells. So when you go, if you see one that you like, remember anything you can get 20% off. So just put it in the coupon code Angie resells and you can get the Jaden printer is excellent. I
So
have
easy to
tested
set
it
up,
and compared
and
it. You'll
yep,
really, really be happy that you do that. Rollo, unfortunately, a new wireless Rollo is $300. That's a
right,
big, big expense.
it is. Yep. And what's funny is it was the computer's fault. I ended up having to send the computer back to Costco because I'm like, and then other stuff wasn't connecting, and I knew it wasn't the Rollo's fault; it was the computer. So who knew? But I went to Jaden and I never looked back.
Nice.
Now he's my buddy. Hey Joe, welcome.
What's up, my friend?
I was trying to get Angie to squeal on who your guests are going to be at Boss Reseller Remix, but she wouldn't do it. Her
Nope.
lips are sealed.
Oh, Texas lady, thank you.
Sorry, I'm going slow. You're
That's
already
okay.
caught up on comments. Purpose in life is great. Keeps me busy. Husband passed away in March. Such a
Oh,
help.
sorry
I'm
to hear
sorry
that.
about that. Writing it down. Subscribed. Yay. Okay, back to questions. My first question, you were mentioning cross-listing. So you
Yep.
use Vendu. Have you used others? What made that one stand out for you?
I have tried Flip and List Perfectly, and I am 100% Vendu for a couple reasons. Number
Interesting.
one,
Kristen was telling me that that's the one you use, so I'm
yeah,
excited
but
to hear.
there's and I have a reason for it. I think whatever is helping you cross list is what you need to do. Find what works best for you. Of course, number
Mhm.
one. I personally like Mendo for a few reasons. Number one, they have an app. So if you are sitting in line waiting for your kids, if you're at,
100%.
whatever you're doing and you have downtime on your phone, you can be cross listing right there in the app. List Perfectly does not have that. Now you could go to to the web browser and try to do it. Unfortunately, List Perfect opens a window, opens a window, opens a window for every
Yes.
single listing. Um,
Yes.
Vendu does not do that. Vendu has a Chrome extension, so it's literally you go in there, it's like 2 clicks and you've listed it. You've listed it. You've listed it. My mom is going to be 70 this year, and she learned Vendu in 5 minutes. And she has
Wow.
cross-listed 2,500 items herself. So
Okay,
that
so
tells
the
you.
number one question, does it delist when it sells?
Yes.
No way.
Yes, it does. If it sells on eBay and Poshmark, it auto delists immediately from all the other sites. Now, it still doesn't do Mercari. So if you're a Mercari seller, you still have to, delist those, but they're adding that. But if you sell anything on eBay or anything on Poshmark, it'll auto delist for you now, guys. So everyone's
Wow.
saying it will come with all these other programs, but it's here for Vendu. So, and if anyone wants to
I
try
like
it,
the
I have a
app idea.
coupon code. So just let me know.
Yeah, throw it in the comments or in the chat or whatever we
No,
call this thing.
it's the same thing.
Okay.
It's the same for everything. Angie resells. So if you want to try, here's what I recommend for Vendu. Okay. Number one, you could sign up and try 5 listings for free. That doesn't cost you anything. You could see how it looks. And
Okay.
then if you want to do it, the first month you're going to pay a little more because you're going to want to transfer all of your listings. But then the next month you can go down to a lower package because you're not going to, you're having way more listings. You may have 1,000 listings you're going to take over there this month, but next month you only may list 100 items. So you only need the 100 item package after that. So get the 25% off the first month and then
Get the bigger
take it way
package.
down after that. It has literally changed how I did reselling. I mean, when I started, Vendu contacted me and said, you need to try it. You keep saying on here you are against cross-listing. Please try it for us. And I said, fine. Okay, I'll try it. 6 weeks, I sold like $2,200 on Mercari and Poshmark. Didn't list a single
Wow.
new item. They were all just old eBay listings. So if I have like a big plan, for $50 a month, I think that $50 is well worth $2,200 in sales.
Easily. Yep. I had
So
started, I did Flip for a minute, didn't like
mhm.
it. Did List Perfectly, and I didn't like the million windows that open
Yes.
up. And
Mhm.
then I still had, even with I think it was like a $70 plan. Their big plan was way up there.
Yeah.
And even with their big jumbo plan that says you don't have to enter anything, they lie. You still have to enter a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and then like you said at the beginning, if it's not a system that you can keep, it doesn't matter what app it is. So
Exactly.
this was adding way too much extra work to my plate. I'd rather
Yeah.
spend that time listing new items. So
Well,
if it's going to slow me down,
they have a training on Vendu. Now I'm always like, I can figure it out. But let me tell you, the 1 hour training that they have on Vendu, which is free for just,
Mhm.
you can just go there. Wow. So much information. Like you can do things like stale listings. It'll tell you when your listings are stale, like 90 days old, 120, whatever you pick. And then
Mhm.
10 at a time, you can delist and relist right in Vendu. 10 at a time, 10 at a time. But that doesn't look like, so that way it does, you're getting new numbers on eBay all the time and it's a click of a button. It's
Wow.
so easy. Just there's just
Okay.
little things that they offer that you don't think about when you first try the system
Right.
out. I just
What
love it. Oh, I will say though, you said you don't like Flip. Here is the exception for Flip, guys. If you are not using Flip to share your listings on Poshmark, you are missing out. Flip is the best share and off. You can send offers on Flip. It's 100% free. Now, the thing is, it's desktop only, but you have to have your Poshmark open and a Flip open. I just put them in, open them up in the morning and it will
Mhm.
run all day. It will share other people's, it'll follow, it will send offers all in the background. You never have to touch it.
Oh,
And it's
wow.
100% free. That
And that's a
that has
Posh thing,
helped
right?
for sure. Huh?
That's just a Posh thing, right? Poshmark?
Yeah, right. But don't pay for a Poshmark share. Don't do that. I mean, especially
No.
when Flip is 100% free. So
Wow, thank you. That's
yeah,
huge.
I
I don't
talk
do
a lot
too
of
much.
stuff.
I'm trying to learn Posh, and I made the mistake of selling a big item, and apparently 10 pounds is your limit. So, fail. That was my fault. So, I need to keep it do you just do your clothing and shoes on there, or what else do you ever
I
put over on
do
Posh?
I do other things too, but you can always instead of using their shipping, because once it goes over 5 pounds, you pay a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
what you do is you just do your labor on pirate ship and then give the tracking to them, and that way you don't have to pay that extra. That's what I
Yeah.
do with it.
That's what I
Um
did. It was a Margaritaville blender, and it sold within like minutes of listing because obviously they saw newbie right on my forehead. So it sold crazy fast, and I did a pirate ship label, loaded the tracking, but then because I didn't buy the label through Posh, I tried contacting them. So I'm like, okay, what do I do? I'm not getting paid because they're saying the item was never shipped, but I have proof that it was delivered through Pirate, and I eventually got paid, but I had to fight for it. They
Oh
kept like
goodness.
almost yelling at me in a way, like this
Oh
isn't
my
how it's done.
gosh.
You're not supposed to do it this way, and like I didn't know. I just want my money.
Yeah.
I barely made like $10 on the stupid
Right.
blender, and it cost so much stress. And yeah, don't sell Margaritaville blenders on Poshmark. Who
Right,
knew?
exactly.
Who
But
knew?
Posh is so great that you could do up to 5 pounds for like $7 and something. eBay
Oh
can't
wow,
touch that. It's amazing.
yeah, exactly. I sold a few things that were on eBay this week on Macari and Posh.
Right?
I need to start more cross listing. I feel the pressure to do it and then I get overwhelmed. So I need to
But
try
you know
one of
what the
the other.
great thing about a good cross-listing system like Vendu is when you're in bed, before you go to bed, you could cross-list 10 items while you're just like, when you're
Yeah.
watching a TV show, you can be on your
The
phone,
app
just
would be life
quickly do it.
changing. I'm in the car
Yeah,
99% of my life going from
right.
camps to dance to, I mean, everything with the 8-year-old.
Exactly.
So
Or but once you get
that's
into the
huge.
school line and you're sitting there waiting, because we all know that school may get out at 3:20, but we're all in that
You're in
dang
line
line
at
at
2:10.
2:45.
Even before that. She
Right. I mean,
started busting this last year because I would have to be in line and get out at 3. I'd have to be in that line no later than 2:20.
right. Exactly. I mean, it's like
Otherwise,
crazy.
you weren't home till like 3:30 in the afternoon.
And
So, and then I realized the buses were passing me as I'm
right.
waiting in that line. Like, no, 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 girl, get on that bus. I'm not
Oh,
doing this.
I remember because my kids did not want to ride the bus. They didn't like it. So their entire school careers, they drove. They were, car riders. So I
Mhm.
sat in that line for more hours than I care to share.
Oh my goodness. Luckily, she still likes it for now. I'm sure the years will come once things get ugly, bullies and all that stuff.
Nice,
Cajun
Chris.
reseller,
What
welcome.
board game did you sell, Chris?
And was it less than £5? All right, what is another question I have here? Your favorite thing about this business?
Being my own boss, for sure. I was an accountant for years and I hated it. I just making money for other people. And I love the idea of being in control of your own destiny, making my own hours. And now the effort that I put in directly reflects my income. So when I'm lazy, I'm not making very much money. But when I really crush it and push hard, my income potential is unlimited. It's really just
Right?
what effort you put into it. And I just can't imagine going back and having to sit at a desk from 8 to 6 again every day.
Yep.
It's soul sucking.
It is. Yeah, my past life, I was a loan officer at a credit union and I was in banking for probably 10 years. And the thought of going back to that would just, oh my gosh, I couldn't do it. There's just no way. Like, I want to be able to go to the bathroom when I want to. I want to go
Right?
take a nap if I need to in the middle of the day. Like, yeah, going to a job, I couldn't do it again. I'm spoiled.
No, I don't think I could either.
Rebel Jump, welcome.
Marie is here too.
Yay! Girls went to school in another state, drove every day,
Oh
twice a
my
day.
gosh,
Plus
Marie.
sports. In
My kids
another
were in
state?
every sport, so constantly driving.
Wow. Yeah, and we're gonna be picking up more dance. My daughter's trying out for the competition team at dance. So
Aw,
if she makes
cute.
it, it means extra classes so that she's ready for that competition team. So
Yep.
we're gonna be living in the dance studio. But
Well,
if
now
I've
you
got
can
the
be
for
cross-listing while you're sitting there.
venue, I'll just sit there and list. Yes. Does it ask a bunch of extra questions in all the other platforms, or does it do a good job?
You know what the thing is? Um, there are at first when you start, there's a lot of questions, but they have a save feature. So if you mostly ship everything, the what is it now called ground advantage, you can select to save that. So all your new listings will be the same. You can save like this, like lots of the features in there so you don't have to repeat them. So
Okay.
if you put the details in there, you're going to have to change sometimes like the sizing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put in a size and sometimes a color. It's weird. Um,
Okay.
and then once in a while, like for a while, everything was coming up dresses. So I had to change the category. But once you have all of that, Poshmark, you don't have to put in shipping. So it's literally change the size, change the color, enter, and you've listed. Mercari, you have to put in, the shipping. So you have to put like how many pounds it is.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's coming from eBay and you already have that in, you then it's already transferring. The only thing you'll do then is select which shipping option you want. So really it takes less than a minute to cross list every single item. But I can
Yeah.
tell you it can't be hard because mom never did computers and things until like 7 years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
for her to catch on and literally she has done all of our cross listing practically. It is simple to use. I highly recommend it to anybody. If you're looking to increase your sales, I was so against it. I mean, years I was against it, but now they also have that auto delist. How do you not, how do you say no
Yeah.
to that? It's literally just extra
They've
money
got to
sitting
get
on the table.
Macari on there pretty quick because I think that's probably the next, is it statistically the next biggest reselling platform?
It is for sure, but
Posh has to
realistically,
be up
even
there,
for
but
me, eBay is 85%. Poshmark is probably 10, and the other 5 is Macari. So they went with the big ones first, and I'm
yeah.
sure they'll add, as they can, but they're the first to get it out there, so I'm really happy with it.
Just the fact that it's out there. That's
Yeah.
that's a start. The others, like you said, no one else is doing that. So, all right, we've got another question. Using a spare bedroom, how or do you keep your items in storage? I'm getting cluttered here. You want to answer that one first?
I have everything in my house, 3,500 listings. Now, I do have a 2-car garage, and I have these muscle racks. So it's like half of it is this way, and then lots of racks, y'all. But in the house, we have a big linen closet. It's like a double wide. That's our shoe closet because I don't like to leave
Okay.
shoes out there. And then one bedroom, I have an office that's mine. And then we have one of our bedroom, we call it Mom's eBay room. So that's where we do all the photography, and we do have some stuff stored there. But the cost of a storage unit is so high. And even if they start you here, in a few months, you're here, then here, then here. And if I can
Yeah.
keep it under control and, here in my house, I'm going to keep doing that. And we have rooms like our living room and our bedroom that are eBay free. So you have to have like
Hmm.
some zones that are like your space that you can just not
Yep.
eBay. But I want to get rid of my items, and I don't want anything that hinders me that I have to go drive and get things or whatever. So I would
Right.
rather lower the price and get it gone rather than store it and pay for storage.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And here in the desert, it was 110 degrees today. So I can't have items in
Yeah.
storage that's going to be 150 plus. I sell candles. I sell things
Oh,
that would
yeah,
melt. I'm
exactly.
sure I don't even know, but electronics, they shouldn't be sitting at 150 degrees.
Mm-mm.
Like I have to be climate controlled. So to pay for a climate controlled storage unit would be
Oh, so
hundreds.
much. Yeah.
So yeah, I've just got to keep it in the house. And like you, I've dedicated space that is eBay, and then the rest of the house is not because I
Yeah,
want it to be free. Like I'll just garage sale if I have to. If I run out of space, I'll get rid of stuff in a bulk manner. But right now, it's strictly eBay room. There's a overflow that I'm staring at right now. But overall, like if company comes, it's easy to roll that cart right into the eBay room. So do
exactly.
what you can, get creative, get overhead storage, get bigger, taller storage. Like if you've got 8-foot ceilings, get 8-foot shelves. If you got 10-foot, get 10-foot shelves. Like try to
Perfect.
get creative with whatever space you do have to avoid a storage.
Christopher said he keeps eBay items in his cupboards. I love that, Christopher.
How do you not accidentally grab it and like start using it? Like, oh, here's the bowl I was looking for. Oh, whoops, I was selling that.
Mhm.
Storage is high. I'm going to try control items here. Yes. Oh, thank you for asking the questions. That's why we do this. And I have people like Angie who's been doing this for so long. I want to pick her brain.
And
So
Texas
another,
lady, another thing you can do too is when you start to get offers, if items are older than like 5 months old, be willing to take a higher off, send them a 25 or 30% offer because we're not in the storage business, we're in the sales business. So rather than sit on something, it's better to get rid of it. So if anyone shows interest, be willing to take a better deal. And we all want the highest value or whatever, but it's not making you any money sitting on a shelf. So that's just kind of how I look at it. I'd be happy with 2,000
absolutely.
listings if I could get, more sales like that rather than
Right.
having the 3,500 that I have.
Right. So what is your plan with the 3,500? Are these all newer items? How do you push out the older items? Do you have any kind of system to move older stuff?
I'm not somebody who gets rid of items. I have things
Yeah.
that have been here for 3 years, I'm sure. But what I do is I do try to make sure that if an item is 6 months old, it gets ended and relisted because
Okay.
I after 6 months, it's proven with eBay's algorithm, once an item is like 6 months old, eBay does not push it out. And here's a
Hmm.
story about Vendu. Because I had so many listings, it took almost a month for them all to go over to Vendu. And it's because eBay was not showing hundreds of my listings Vendor couldn't pull them because they were not being found on eBay because they were older than 6 months old. If you have, you need to like relist your items once they hit 6 months old so that it looks like a new listing, but change your price, change your title, things like that. So that's really what I do. And once items get to be like what I just told Texas lady, I am willing, if something's like 3 or 4 months old, I'm going to give it a 25 or 30% offer. Now, I'm probably not going to allow counter offers with that because, you know, it's a really good price. But I definitely want to move my items rather than sit on them. Unless you have something like really super valuable that you know it has a great value. But anything, if it's under $50, sell it and move on. That's my advice for you.
Yeah, and I've recently started doing markdown sales. I only found it not that long ago from Lonnie on Shed Flips. Yes. And one of his videos was talking about these markdowns where you can tell it the time frame that you're looking for. So if it's from 1 to 60 days, or I think I do the first 90 days was 10% off. And then I've got from like 90 to 180 is 15%. And then I go as far as if it's 2 years or older, it's 50% off. Like if I've had it that long, I want it gone. But like you said, if it's not even being shown, my efforts might not even be doing anything. And then if one of those sells, good luck trying to find it because my inventory 2 years ago, not the best. But yeah, I like that markdown. At least and it also reminds you when you put that filter of the older stuff, like, wow, I never would have bought this again.
Right.
Like
I know.
the things
exactly.
I bought 2 years ago, I'm like, why did I buy that? So I need to filter and just relist or donate or something. But 105, yuck. But Texas, you have humidity though. We have humidity right now because of monsoon season, but normally we're not humid. So 105 dry is better than 105 and 90% humidity. But right now we're at like 40% and it's awful. Awful.
Yeah.
The kitchen cabinets, yeah, that's hilarious. Lonnie a couple times a month at yard sales. How funny. Cool, I don't know how I'd control myself if I ran into like big people in public. Like I never would, but Kayla, the homeschool picker, if I ever ran into her or Lonnie or Harry Tornado, like how do you not fangirl when you run into these people? That'd be funny. That's probably with like all the reseller meetups. Like how do you control yourself? I don't know.
Yeah.
Too much
and
competition.
It's funny because if you met Haley in person, Haley Tornado, she is so shy. She's like coming out of her shell over the last couple of years, but she is so shy. So everyone's fangirling over them, and she's like, like she is so nervous to meet new people.
Me. Vegas has been 110. Yeah, you guys, you're closer to the Phoenix temperatures. Phoenix gets awful. I don't know how people live up there. But, oof, no, thank you. I'm glad they're doing October for Vegas because at least it won't be 110. It'll be warm. Like Halloween, we can't dress up hot or in coats or pants. Like you're still in shorts and tank tops in October.
Right.
So hopefully less than 100 though. You don't know. What is your biggest pet peeve in reselling?
I would say, there's a few. One is that shipping changes every 6 months. That's I guess a pet peeve.
Yeah.
But I thought about this question and I had like a couple, but I just, none that are like, I would say returns. Returns are my biggest pet peeve because I get so many returns for clothing because people won't read. I have measurements, I have pictures, I have all, and they're like, well, it doesn't fit. I needed a size, whatever. And they just don't read it. All the measurements are there. Everything's there. And you get returns constantly. It just drives me insane. So I guess that's my favorite.
Oh, for sure. My favorite return, I actually just picked them up today from the P.O. box, was a pair of brand new UGG boots being returned because they squeak. They squeak. I'm like, maybe they just need to be worn in. Like it squeaks. How it's a brand
Right,
new shoe.
and you can't return it brand new now. You've worn them, obviously.
Well, I'm gonna see. They're still in a box. I haven't opened them, so I got to see the condition that he returned them. So they were brand new, $150 UGG boots. So like UGG work boots. So
Oh
they
my
were they
gosh,
like. I'm nervous
they
to open the
squeak.
box, but
Coco, is your whatnot tonight?
ooh, it usually is. I think she follows me pretty much, like she has in the past. Thank you so much for coming, girl. I'm
Love
excited
you,
to
girly.
see your show.
Nice.
Non-existent, yeah. Do you get monsoons in Vegas or not really? Yeah, I don't think you do usually. All right. Oh, and then I had a camera that was returned because he didn't like the color. Like the color doesn't affect the camera, but
What?
it was a red camera. It was like a red Canon something, and he didn't like the color. Like, oh my gosh, people. All right, your best and your worst buy or flip and flip.
Okay. Worst is, look, can I do two best?
Of course.
Okay. Worst is, anything we don't make a profit on. I mean, we've all like done that 1,000 times. But I have
Hashtag
two,
blender.
yeah, I have two very, very different, but very interesting bests. One was, gosh, a couple years ago, Radio Shack went out of business. They were going out of business, and I kept driving by our local little Radio Shack, and it would be like 60% off, 70% off. And then I saw a sign that said last day. And I thought, all right, I got to go in there and just see what last day things. So I went in and they had these boxes and they said, you can fill a box for $10. Anything left in the store. And I was like, oh, so I was filling like this, filling a box. And I was on my second box and I heard that this rep had come in. He was the closing rep. And he said, are you a reseller? And I'm like, oh, like he's going to kick me out. I'm done,
I
And I
hate that
said,
question. You don't know how
I'm
it's going to
like,
follow up.
yes. And he said, good. If you're willing to wait for every item to be scanned in the store, we'll sell you everything left in the store for $10.
Shut
It
up.
took about 8.5 hours to scan every item. And I walked out of there with every item left in the Radio Shack. Oh, and Chris has a good one, the pillows, but I wasn't going to tell that story. So that was one. And I made...
Hold on, go back to Radio Shack here. So what kind of stuff was in there? Was there still really good stuff?
They remember they used to have the radio control cars and things like that. So the big electronics was all gone. But they have like the impossible to find batteries and parts. And I mean, I had a Radio Shack store on eBay essentially. So I made probably $20,000 or more on it. I mean, it just because it was so much. It was incredible.
8 hours to scan everything.
Yeah, I mean, if that tells you anything. So, I mean,
how did you get it home? Like you had to get in a truck or just like doing trips?
It was literally like less than half a mile from my house. So we'd fill the car, drop it off, come back, fill an SUV a couple times. And so it was pretty cool. That was a really, really good one.
Wow, that's epic. Unbelievable. All right, what's the pillow story?
I wasn't going to tell the pillow story, but okay. So we have an Amazon return store where I actually got my best single item flip at this store. But one day I was driving there to see what they had at this Amazon return store, and I go around the side where the dumpster is, and there are all these boxes, and I can't control myself. I have to go over there and see what it is. And here they are, these pillows, cases and cases and cases of these super cute flamingo pillows with these little pom-poms all around it. And then these other ones with these cute fish. They were like indoor, outdoor pillows. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're throwing these away. And I started filling my car with these pillows. Actually, at first I went back to my mom and I said, come with me. I'm freaking out. We filled the car twice with pillows and we sold them all on Facebook Marketplace back when it first started that you could ship on Facebook Marketplace, and made like $2,000 in like a total of 5 days, like just on these free pillows. Yeah, that was a pretty
Unbelievable.
good one. That was but that same place, but my best sale, I mean, gosh, I have so many, but, I when the bin store, the good Amazon returns store, they first opened, they had a lot of big boxes, and I went in, I think it was the 2nd week, and there was this weird box, and it said GE something and the weird part name, and I was like, "It's $14." Hmm. Alright, I'm gonna take a chance on it. I have no idea what it is, right? So I get
Okay.
home and I put it on eBay. I try to look it up. Here I find out it is the braking system for a train, not like a little train, like a giant passenger train, like a locomotive giant, you know? It's an upgrade
At
system
an
for
Amazon return store.
how did this get there, right? It was brand new.
The things you can buy on
I,
Amazon.
I didn't know what to put on it, so I put $2,000 on the thing because I just stuck it on eBay. And a few weeks later, it sold for full price. So I had to look it up and see who bought it because I'm like, who's buying this weird thing? And here, GE, their engineering department, bought it back from me. No
Wow.
questions asked. So that means it's probably worth like $25,000 or something like
Right.
that. But I was like,
They
I'm
want
not
it off the
asking
street.
any questions. $2,000 from that $14 gamble. I'll take that all day long. It was
Oh my
awesome.
goodness. How do you ship a giant train motor?
Oh, it was like a box like this big, and they were in Florida. I was like, "Bless you for being in
Oh,
Florida."
wow.
So it was actually only like
My luck they'd be in California,
$14.
right? Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
amazing.
but, you know, you live for those, like, moments and stuff, like, the weird stuff always is the best.
Yes. I don't have those big of a story though, or that big of a story. Definitely don't.
Oh,
Text is
thank
late. So returns, I do not accept free returns. I have buyer paid returns. And if I get the item back and it's not in the same condition, I have the power to deduct. And then if they return it because they don't like it or they doesn't fit, well, there's a couple other categories that they can put, and
Yep.
they pay for that return shipping. However, there's that one little loophole. If they say not as described, then they're supposed to get free returns. It charges me for it. And like those boots, they said that it was defective. I'm like, it's a boot. It's not defective. Your foot is defective.
Yeah.
Oh, silly people. So no, it is not free returns. I think we'd go under if I did free returns. Especially with you do a lot more clothes, I'm sure, than I do. I don't do very much. And
Clothes are my
it would
biggest
just
returns
be
by far,
yeah,
and it's typically they don't like it or it's the wrong size, even though I have measurements in every piece of clothing except for swimsuits.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, people don't read. Buy the weird stuff. Yes, weird sells. That is always, always my motto. If I
Yep.
don't know what something is, I look it up because chances are it's going to be something that's valuable. What is the weirdest thing you've ever sold since you like the weird and
Oh gosh, weirdest. I mean, I've had a lot of weird things. I know Kristen has sold dentures before. Yeah, used
wow, that's
people's
a good one.
dentures.
Hearing aids. I've
Um,
sold hearing aids, but
you sold hearing
dentures?
aids? I
Yeah.
years ago, I sold a partial gold tooth. You could do it way back when, it was probably 20 years ago. I'm trying to think what else. But a lot, I mean, you know, weird stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
here's actually something weird that I used to sell. You cannot do this anymore. I sold, what was it called? There was one of these home parties, but it was for like adult products,
Okay.
you know, um, toys, we'll say. And somebody had it on Facebook Marketplace. They were getting out of the business, and I can't remember the name of it. And so they had tons of lotions and stuff, but there was lots of toys. And so I was like, I don't know, you know, she wanted like $500. And I said, listen, if you can't sell it, I could give you $200, but I'm a reseller. So I understand if you can't sell it for that. You know,
Right.
and she said, what can you do 300? And I said, honestly, I can't. I'm taking a big chance, a big gamble on this because I didn't look it up. I just was like,
Right.
that looks weird. So and I ended up,
Huh.
she messaged me a few days later. Nobody else had messaged. And oh my gosh, I put that stuff on eBay back. You can't, since 2021, you can't list any of that on eBay anymore. But back then you could. And I listed all and sold every single piece within 3 weeks on eBay. I was
Wow.
like, dang, I was
Or
surprised.
that is hilarious.
So I'm
Wow.
when people say, "What do you sell?" I said, "From Bibles to, you know,
Yep. Very, very true. Oh, that's hilarious.
dentures." Right? Oh, so gross.
They have to be for a display. They can't go in someone's
No,
mouth.
use people's dentures. I asked her that myself. We'll have to ask Kristen again because she said no.
And then they don't fit.
People's
Like
used. That's what I
you'd
thought.
have to like they get molded to your gum line.
Right. That's what I
So
thought too. But she
they're not
said
gonna
no.
fit
They
very well.
actually sell. That's weird.
I know. That's definitely I mean, I guess people buy used underwear and other stuff, but probably for
Yeah,
other
right.
purposes. So all right, we're not going down that hole. Okay, so what is your favorite reseller tip that you wish everyone knew?
I think the best tip that I can give everyone is your profit comes in the buy price. You're going to make your money if you buy it at the right price. So
100%.
be really careful, you know, about what you're paying for your items. Because if you're paying too much, you know, you can have $50 sales, but if you're paying too much for that item, you're not really making enough for it to be worth it.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I aim for 10 times my money. Now, I don't always get that. Sometimes, you know, if it's a higher priced item and I'm willing to do 4 times my money, whatever. But
Right.
on the average, I want whatever I'm picking up to be 10 times, you know, the value on for what I resell it for.
Yep.
That way I have plenty of room to take offers and, you know,
Yep.
my costs are really low.
Yeah, for sure. That's where taking note from Coco, she just left, but she has a very strict budget that she talks about a lot. And
Yes.
it pays off because she'll go to these sales and tell them, like, I'm sorry, I can't afford it. It's not in my budget. And she'll get it either cheaper or she just knows not
Or
to
she
even look at
walks.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's $10, I'm just not going to get it. Where I'll sit there and be like, okay, 10, if I sell it for 50, is it worth it? Like I sit there and mentally think because the 10 isn't affecting me. It's I want to know what it's going to sell for. When Coco sees it and sees the 10, like, no, if I'm only spending $20 today, I don't want half my budget to go to this one item. So it's such a mind shift that has to be so beneficial in our business because
Yeah.
if it's too much, she's just not even looking at it. So,
Exactly.
but then I'm sure there's times that she kicks herself because if she had paid up, it would have paid off. But knowing that she has that budget, just yeah, great skill to have. I
Yep.
don't stick to a budget. If I have the money in my wallet and I'm gonna make
There
a
you go.
profit, I just buy it. You dentures, yeah, that
I
just grosses
know.
me. I wonder if
No
any questions or
questions
advice.
whatsoever, Christopher, and it just sold, and surprisingly, almost everything sold to Puerto Rico. Isn't that weird? I don't know why.
Oh,
I'm thinking that it was one of those home parties, and I'm thinking that they must have just got to Puerto Rico at that time, and so they
ah,
were seeing it as a
to
much
start their
better
own
deal than what
business.
their friends were pitching it at. But it was
Mhm.
so weird. I mean, we're talking like 70% of it went to Puerto Rico.
Weird. Of
Yeah,
all
it was
places, I
very
mean, you're
odd.
closer to them, so location-wise, but
But
yeah,
it
there
just
has to
didn't.
be something with the
Yeah,
business
it didn't make any sense.
expanding.
And actually, at the time, I was living in Connecticut when I got all that stuff. So
Oh,
it
okay, so it
wasn't here
wasn't
in Florida.
location-based.
Yep.
Interesting. I'm terrible with staying within budget. Yeah. Well, I figure I guess I kind of do budget. Like I want to say that 10% of my business goes back into my business. And then I still
Yeah.
have money for bills and whatever else we save for. But so I stick to a rough budget like that. I'm not going to go and spend 100% of my profits back in inventory. That would be silly. So I stick to a budget in that sense, but not like I only have $40 for my entire weekend. Or even right now, she's on like a sourcing cleanse. So she's not sourcing until after FlipCon. So I don't know how
Wow.
she's gonna do it. I think she said FlipCon was the time. I wish she was still here to ask, but there's like 6 more weeks or something that she's not sourcing. When
Wow.
is FlipCon? Isn't it October, September?
August. No, it's in August sometime, but
It's in
still,
August.
that's
Then that
another
is the time
month.
frame. Yeah. So she's not sourcing for another month, so she can save up and go crazy when she's out there.
That's
So
awesome.
high five to her because I don't have that kind of. I always have FOMO. Like I want to go see what's out there. I can't miss it.
That's
Even being
funny.
out of town, like I miss it. Let's see, what other question? How do you see your business growing in the future?
Grow
eBay and YouTube.
Yeah, well, you know what I think? I think that years ago, we could all just put our eggs in one basket. For the longest time, I sold on eBay and eBay only. But the economy is different and there's a lot more sellers and people are much more savvy. So you do have to learn to pivot your business for sure, especially if
Mhm.
you're full time like I am. So things like cross listing, so building up that for Mercari and Posh and possibly like moving into some of the other ones. Like I don't know if I would do Depop, but there's some other, platforms be
Mhm.
willing. I also do I did for a year a YouTube auction every single Saturday, adding whatnot in to my business, things like that.
Mhm.
I really want to streamline where I don't have as many items because I'm flipping them faster. That is my
Right.
goal moving forward. I don't want to have a storage facility. So,
Right.
and as far as my YouTube, I went through a period where I wasn't putting out a lot and I finally have like kind of come full circle because as a reseller, we have like a really kind of specific niche. And some people were doing teaching. When I first looked into YouTube, a
Mhm.
lot of people were doing the teaching of how to do everything. And now it's got to where you go along, you ride along and go to yard sales and you do all that kinds of stuff. And a lot of people are
Yep.
doing that. But I think for me, I'm going to go back to my roots, which is teaching. I love
Mhm.
teaching and I love getting people into this business. So my goal for my channel anyways is to go back to basics and help people start reselling. And I really want to work with people who are retired or close to retirement,
Yep.
on fixed incomes, on disability, things like that, and say, you have a way to be successful right from the inside of your home. And
100%.
I really think that I'm single, so being debt free has definitely helped me along that path. I wasn't.
Mhm.
I Dave Ramsey'd it and I got debt free after a lot of years and I changed literally the outcome of the family history that's going forward with my kids. They are debt
Yep.
free and they like save money and things like that. And I just want to help people like do that with their own lives. So that's what I see going forward in my YouTube channel.
That's
Just because
awesome.
I just, everyone I talk to and y'all, like everyone's my friend. I really, it's been amazing for me because I think YouTube all gives us a platform to have coworkers, like we're all alone and this can be a very solitary business. So I love
Mhm.
that we can all get together and like help each other and learn from each other. But I really don't think, at least not very many women's perspective, women helping other women, especially
Yep.
be their own boss and find something that they can love and do for themselves to be financially secure. And that's really what I want to do. So,
Yeah.
that is my journey this year, is to really focus on teaching people the basics of not only just reselling, but just being self-sustaining and finding your path, whatever that is. So
That's awesome. And there, of course, and then that broadens the
oh,
niche you're reaching into YouTube. You're not just reselling, you're also womanhood and
yeah.
entrepreneurship and
And
much,
that's what
much bigger.
our podcast is all about too. Women helping other women, supporting other
Yeah.
women in business. So that's what we
That's
love.
awesome. I'm excited for that for you.
Thanks.
Texas lady, I have about 20 collectible old pocket knives. eBay sent a message that it was enrolled in international. Are there countries that do not allow knives? Do you know, Angie?
I'm sure there are. So you can actually turn off international shipping for
Just
each,
to play safe.
for that listing. And that's what I would do. Here's a big one. If you're selling health and beauty items, there's lots of health and beauty items that cannot go international as well. Like melatonin is something that we can get over the counter. Well, evidently it's prescription only in the UK. So if you even have a listing, you can get suspended for listing that, making it available in the UK. So,
Interesting.
if it's even questionable, I turn off international shipping.
I never put a second thought to it. That's probably bad, but it's always on. I just always have it on, and I never thought like, wow, should this not be
Oh,
sold
I was
internet?
suspended 4 times in 1 year for
Oh
health and
no.
beauty products. So, you learn the hard
Oh,
way.
yes. I got a 3-day, but I forget what it was for. Oh no, it was a prescription.
Yeah,
It wasn't a CPAP because
exactly.
I got dinged for that early in reselling. I think that's
Mhm.
like the Beanie Baby mistake. Everyone makes that mistake in the beginning.
Yep.
But this was no, this was something, it was newer. It was like a massage, a back massage thing,
Maybe like a
but
TENS
it had
machine?
RX on it. It was like
Yep.
some kind of back massage, spine adjuster
Oh,
that
yep.
needed to
And
be
you would
prescription.
think I had a
Yeah.
back brace that it was just a back brace, and I got
Yeah.
suspended for it because they said it was RX. Like, how are we supposed to
Right.
know
And then
that?
I ended up looking underneath the box and there was the little
There
RX.
it was,
So
yep.
yeah, nothing like the suspension. Sitting there and talking about 3 days. Ugh, second week of August, yeah, is the flip con. So yeah, she's fasting for I couldn't do
Wow.
it that long. But
Well,
long
I
time to
kinda
not
have
cook.
to because it's been raining here or 100 degrees with so much humidity that no one's having yard
Yeah.
sales. It's crazy.
Yeah. Ours are definitely thinner. They're definitely
Mhm.
thinner, but our local thrift store has been less populated because snowbirds, they're all back in their colder climates.
Oh,
So we're not
true.
as busy in our thrift store. So that's very good for people that live here year round.
Yes.
Even clothes and hard goods, every country excludes something.
That's true.
How do we keep
Levi's
up
you
with
can't
all of
sell.
this?
Levi's you can't
Levi's?
sell in a lot of countries. I don't know why, it's crazy.
All right, this is where your 25 years shows. That's crazy. A debt-free journey. Yes, that is. We went to a Dave Ramsey live in Colorado Springs many years ago. I think we were married for maybe a year, and we went to it to go see him. But changes lives for sure if you stick to it.
It's so worth it though. Let me tell you what, the day that I paid off my last student loan, I literally cried like a baby. I mean, because my student loans alone were like $27,000. So to
Wow.
have, to get to that point to write that last one, I was like, and I could have paid online, but I wrote the check. It was just so like
Wow.
cathartic. It was like so amazing to just go ahead and put it on there and just be done
Be
forever.
done.
And it
Wow.
like changed
And to
my life.
think you're not even using those student loans now. How many people in the world have so much loan debt and they don't even do those degrees?
Oh,
It's
exactly, exactly. But I
crazy.
mean, the biggest thing for me, like going through, my kids were in their teens when I was going through the debt free journey. Um, but my kids graduated college all with at least $10,000 in the bank, owing no student loan debt and owning nice cars, like only a few years old, but debt free, not owing anything.
Wow.
But that took me going through that journey for them to
Yep.
figure it out. And my 25-year-old owns her own condo now and is going to have it paid off before I get my house completely paid off. Because I do
Wow.
still own my house, but she's actually going to pay her condo off before I'll be able to pay my house off. That is
Wow.
success for
It's
me.
so
So,
great to take those lessons and pass
yeah.
it on because it's going to help them immensely. My kids, obviously, they're not in college yet, but my sister has been helping with her kids, and whether they get scholarships or my nephew just got some kind of program through his high school. He just graduated, and they're paying for the community college.
Dual
Uh,
enrollment. My kids both did that. And they
yes.
graduated from college with associate degrees a week before they graduated high school. Free.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. So this
And then they
one,
both
it's
got college
scholarship
scholarships. So,
based,
mhm.
but yeah, so he's not having to pay for it, and he's going to get his associates is the 2 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he'll get his associates as long as he keeps his grades up for completely free.
Yeah.
And then
Books and
there's so
everything.
many
It's
programs
amazing.
out there that yeah, my niece got her teaching degree, so she's a teacher now, and that was fully covered through a Spanish immersion. Uh, I forget the name of the program, but there's a program through the university that pays for these kids to go to school to be teachers, and then they just have to student teach in one of the poor districts,
Oh,
one of the districts that need the need the teachers.
right.
So
That's
now she's
awesome.
got her degree and going to masters and got scholarships for that. And
Nice.
if you plan it right, you don't have to dig into the
Exactly.
crazy debts. So one step at a time and pay one semester at a time, or
Good for you. Proud of you.
yeah. All right, makes me cry. I'm looking at about 42,000. Yeah, and you're not alone. And I think also they push it so much to get student loans. Like, oh, this is your easy button. I think my sister, different sister, ended up with yeah, probably that much getting out because right when her freshman year of college, they kept saying, "Oh, just take out an extra 5,000 for living expenses."
No.
Okay, give a 18-year-old $5,000. They're not living expenses.
Well, and
Like they're just blowing
unfortunately, they don't explain that to kids. They're like, "Oh,
no,
you can get this extra money out." And my kids, I was like, "No, you can't get a
right.
student loan. That we don't do that route." I mean, like they're like, "We
Yep.
know, Mom, Dave Ramsey." But I was at like $60,000, single mom, newly divorced, with 2 kids, and so I worked as an accountant and then did eBay at night, and that's how I paid it off. So
That's
your eBay
amazing.
business can 100% get you out of debt.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
24 and didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, I think these student loan sharks just pry on it.
Exactly.
And it's
They
an awful
encourage
system.
them to take the money. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, you can pay your car payment with it and you can pay
Mhm.
this with
Well,
it.
you can
And
go to spring break and yeah.
yeah. Oh, it's awful. Yeah. And I'm all for community colleges because they're like $2,000 a semester and way, way better. All right. So, Angie, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. And I want to thank everyone who is with us in the chat. That always makes it the most fun when we get to engage and interact and answer any questions that everyone has. And I cannot wait to hear about the Boss Reseller Remix in
Yay.
October. Do you
Mhm.
have any codes or anything to get tickets or any promo codes for tickets that you want to share? Or just
Yeah,
a
if
website to go
you
to?
y they do have an option. You can get a ticket right now, and I do know that in July, the tickets are gonna be the same price as last year, but August prices may go up. So if you are plan on going, make sure you get your ticket soon. But if you can't go to Vegas and you do want to do the virtual event, which is gonna be pretty cool because it's actually live streaming, so you can actually, like, ask questions to everybody on the panels and everything this year, so it's gonna be really
Nice.
awesome.
And there'll be
Um,
somebody moderating it?
yeah, it's gonna be live the whole
Nice.
time, and you can actually be a part of it, which is awesome. Those tickets, you can get $10 off if you just use code Angie. It's normally Angie Resells, but they did Angie. But you can get $10 off your ticket. So it's like a great thing to just be a part of it, even if you can't go and be there. But if you even have a chance of going, come. Kristen and I want everybody to be there for when we're zip lining like lunatics. We're actually doing the Superman style zip lining where you lay on your stomach. It's a bucket list thing. I'm doing it. I'm like, let's go. So me, Kristen, and Blue Ridge Mama, Heather, who is Commonwealth Pecker's mom, Pecker's wife, mom. Oh my gosh. We're all going to zip line together, and we're trying to get the Trash to Cash guys to do it too.
Wow. I want to be there just to watch that.
Oh
Like,
my
are
gosh.
you going over the strip or where is it at?
Yes. Evidently Fremont Street goes right over top.
Wow.
So I'm super excited.
What a blast. Oh my goodness. All right, Angie. Thank you so much again for joining me.
For
And
having
I can't
me.
wait to see you at the Reseller Remix.
Yay.
And everyone have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks so much for
Kevin
having
ain't
me. This
doing
was so
that.
much
Yeah.
fun. Bye, everybody. I
All
know
right,
Christmas
guys.
too chicken.
Everybody, have a wonderful weekend.